enjoyed the weather this weekend. My name is Corey Snamsher. I'm with Region 9 Development Commission, and this is Social Media Breakfast. Our sponsors are Region 9 Development Commission, Auto Media Group, Minnesota State University Mankato for Center of Innovation and Entrepreneurship, and the SBDC. And today we have Miranda Murphy. She works with Taylor Corporation, and we're going to be talking about how to get ready for 2021 with your social media. So I will give it over to Miranda.
Get myself unmuted. Hello, I'm going to get my presentation up. Just tap one, share. How is everyone? So as Corey mentioned, my name is Miranda Murphy. Everybody can see my purple screen, right? How to plan social media. Yes, thumbs up. Okay. Awesome. So as Corey mentioned, my name is Miranda Murphy. I am a marketing specialist within Taylor, and we're going to talk about social media today. So our overall agenda is to do my quick introduction. We're going to talk about some best practices, how to choose a best platform. I'm really hoping that everybody's going to have a good 90-day plan going into Q1, and then we'll talk about stretching content, scheduling, and when outsourcing might be helpful. So, and then at the end, we'll do some Q&A. So as we get going here, if you could just drop like your business name, what kind of products you sell, those kinds of things in the chat. So then when we go back to the end, we can maybe work through some real life examples, okay? All right, there we go. It was not moving to the next slide for me. Goodness. So as we said, my name is Miranda. I'm a mom. I'm a wife, and I'm a mom of two. My daughter is Naomi, and she is 6. She's in 1st grade. My son is 3. His name's Connor, and he is something else, let me tell you, but they're really great. My background, I have a liberal arts degree from South Central, and then I also have a bachelor's degree in marketing from MSU, and then a minor in business administration, but most businesses classes there get that. So as I mentioned, I am a marketing specialist by day. I always say that by day, I'm a marketing specialist for Taylor. I work within the yearbook division, so we manage a few different brands and products there. We do everything from social media marketing, email, anything and everything marketing there. So, and then in my free time, I am also a freelance marketer. So I work with small businesses. I'm helping them with their social media or whatever facet of marketing that they need assistance with. So in a previous life, well, you can see my graduation picture. I kind of did things a little backwards, and we got married and had kids first. And then, so while I was in college, I was also a boutique owner. So I know the hats that we as business owners wear, okay? You're doing the taxes, you're doing the social media marketing, you're doing the, you're actually having to sell the thing that you do, right? So there's a lot of hats, and I definitely understand that struggle. So in my downtime, if I ever have any, we spend a lot of time out at the lake. I like to run 5Ks, and shocking, I also like to read marketing books. So that's just a little bit about me. Hope that helps you get a little bit better feel of what my experience is. I don't know why my thing, there we go. Okay, so let's dive on into what best practices are for social media, okay? So I'm not gonna tell you post at this time or post this many times a week. There's not really an actual magic formula, right? So whatever you do, I'm gonna tell you to be consistent. So if that means you're going on and posting 3 times a week, do that all the time, right? So you're following and your customers know when to expect something from you, okay? Posting an hour before your customers are online. Making sure you're going out and checking those insights, looking on Facebook, looking on Instagram. When are your customers online? And I see that common mistake where they're seeing that spike. Does everybody know what I'm talking about when we're talking about managing a Facebook page, or do we want to check that out? Because we can definitely do that at the end. Just remind me, okay? But it'll show you your graph at what time your customers are online. And I often see people see, okay, my customers are online at 9, I'm going to post at 9. Well, then you sometimes miss them, right? So you're going to want to make sure the content's there, so when they go out at 9, they can see it, right? Okay. Another tip is to cross promote platforms. So any fans of TikTok, I mean, that is a really big one right now, and they're really good about cross promoting between TikTok and Instagram. So you want to try to get followers on other platforms and tell them what kind of content they can find there. So TikTok is primarily video, similar to like YouTube. It's just super short videos. But you want to tell them where to go, where they can find you besides hanging out with you on Facebook, besides hanging out with you on Instagram, because your content might be different. Video, guys. So everything on social media tracks better if it's video. So we don't want a lot of, don't always just post a picture with a caption. Don't always just post a plain caption. Video is going to track better, and short videos. So we know people don't have that attention span to sit there on social media. You're scrolling, right? You're trying to see what's new. You got to grab their attention within those first few seconds, but you also really don't want it longer than like 15, 20, 30 seconds, which sounds crazy, but the analytics will show usually around 6 seconds people drop off, right? So we want to get that good information out quickly in a video. And then using the newest features on a platform. So platforms roll out new things all the time. Most recently, Instagram is doing Instagram Reels, which is similar to TikTok, those short, funny videos that usually have like a music background. LinkedIn is using stories now. It's been a while, but still fairly recent. So using those new features, platforms want you to use them. That's how they get you out there. That's how you're showing the platform that you're active, that you're trying the new things, and that's going to help increase your algorithm to be seen, right? Okay. A little bit more about best practices for social media, and this is probably one of the most common that I see in MLMs, is the 80-20 rule. We're not talking about diet today. That's not my specialty, but as far as having a personal page, so your personal Facebook page, your personal Instagram, you want to have an 80-20 balance of your life and then your business. So what does 80% of life on Facebook look like? Okay. That's pictures of your kids, pictures of your pets, asking your friends what their favorite holiday tradition is, sharing a funny meme, those kinds of things. That's that 80%. And then 20% of the time, you do want to make sure that people know, hey, I offer this product, or hey, I offer this service, or hey, there's this sale going on because it's the holidays. Does that make sense? Okay. So then on the business side of that, you want the opposite 80-20, right? So you want to do 80% of business and 20% of life. So what does that look like? Sharing your products and service, sharing why you're in business. Why is it that you do what you do? We've all heard, I hope, that people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it, right? So sharing that kind of information out on social is helpful. Sharing industry related memes, that lighthearted, funny, if you're in the industry, you understand kind of thing. So that's good content for there. And then last but not least, as far as that business content, 80% of it should be adding value, should be about your business. It shouldn't always be, I have a sale, I have a product, buy this, right? We want to make sure that we're sharing, okay, what is the problem that your product or service solves? What do the behind the scenes look like? This is really great, especially given the current state of the coronavirus. Okay, show people, what does it look like when you're packaging products? What does it look like to design a new template? Like whatever your business is, show them the behind the scenes, at least of what you can. Give them that inside sneak peek. So, and then what does the customer need to know? So can you share educational, can you share educational tips, tricks, that kind of thing? So does that all make sense? Okay. All right. So as I'm sure everybody knows, there's a million platforms, and I'm not going to tell you go out there and be on every single one, because not everyone is going to be right for you. It's not going to be right for your business. So first and foremost, pick the platform that your ideal customer is on. Kind of 1A, pick the platform your customer's on, and then 1B, pick the platform that you like, because then you're actually going to want to go do the content. And then making sure that you're having a strategy that encompasses long-term, short-term, and then the bridge platforms. So we'll dive into that next, okay? So Choosing a platform mix is making sure that you're showing up with the kind of content that actually serves your customer, right? So we're going to choose one in each category. The first category is the long term. So this is your also known as like an anchor piece of content, right? So a blog, a podcast, a YouTube. Okay, what do all three of these have in common? They're generally a longer form of content, right? So a blog post, you read, there's a lot of reading and graphics and images, right? So a podcast is usually several minutes long. It's not just that quick feedback, right? Same thing with YouTube. It's a video, something like this. It would be uploaded online. People can watch it. Making sure that this kind of content that falls in this bucket is evergreen, okay? We want to talk about things that are not going to matter just right now, but it could also matter to your customer in 6 months, okay? Does that make sense? Okay. So a short-term platform, or we're talking about like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Snapchat, those things. These are really good for those quick wins. Those are good for promoting the sale that you're doing. This is good for sharing all of that stuff that we talked about before, giving your why, that kind of stuff. But they don't really live on for very long, right? Like you see a Facebook post, or if you are familiar with TikTok, you watch a TikTok, and I mean, if you don't save it, it's gone forever, right? So that's that short-term content. So you'd want to choose one, maybe two in this bucket, okay? Bridge content is kind of how it marries everything together, right? So Pinterest is a really great example for that. So if you're familiar with blogging, generally you use Pinterest to create the graphics and the pins that send people back to the blog, right? LinkedIn also does the same thing. You can send people back to your YouTube channel. Sorry guys, I get excited and I talk fast. So if you have questions, we'll get there, okay? So that bridge content really helps marry all of these together. So you're wanting to cross promote the platforms with the bridge content, saying if you're out on LinkedIn and you're in a B2B business, you're like, okay, go to Facebook and find this information, or go find us on YouTube for an instructional video on how to use this product. Is that helpful? Okay. So, and then I had the recommendations. So if you're in a B to C market, generally the magic 3 combo is a blog, a Facebook, and a Pinterest. If you're in that B2B, it would be a blog, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So that's just a recommendation. Facebook is huge. If you're going to pick 2 out of that bucket, I would highly recommend Facebook and then something else. Facebook and Google are the 2. Facebook's often used as like a search engine, right? So if you're not showing up on Facebook, sometimes people don't necessarily think your business exists. So just a FYI there. Okay, so if you don't already have a piece of paper out, grab one, because I'm really hoping we are going to get through a 90-day plan, okay? So first, step 1 in determining what this 90-day plan is determining what your audience needs. What problem is your business? What problem is your product solving for them? How can you help them? Is there education that they need prior to buying your product? So hypothetically, let's say you sell, essential oils, right? And you have one that helps people sleep at night. Let's educate them at, why is sleep important? What are signs that you're not getting enough sleep? That kind of a thing. So think of those topic areas in your industry that are helpful for your ideal customer, especially ones that your product and service solves. So we're thinking broad topic areas, right? So like health and fitness. So that would be nutrition, sleep, exercise. We're not talking about, the specific little things right now, okay? Pro tip is answer the public. And I'm actually going to back out of my screen here so we can take a peek at this answer the public platform, okay? All right, so this is what Answer the Public looks like. It is a free service, and it is super, super helpful for anybody that is in business. It works for almost any industry. And this is a search tool that actually gives you real-time data on what people are searching for at Google. So this is like that sneak peek on how to really get into your customer's head to see what are they Googling. So discover what people are asking about. So we're gonna go down the sleep rabbit hole today. Type in the topic. It's going to kick back what kind of questions people are asking. So you get 2 free searches. So use them, or 2 free searches per day. So use them wisely. But so this kind of shows what kind of questions people are asking. So which sleep do you dream in? Which sleep type am I? How sleep affects mental health? So those are those kind of content pillars or anchor content that we would maybe want to write a blog post about, right? We can take one of those questions, write the blog post, so then when we share it with our customers, they're like, man, how did you know that I was wondering that, right? Super helpful, hopefully. So this is a really great tool. Highly recommend using it. There's more information as you kind of scroll down and different ways to look at the content. So check it out if you have not done that before. Okay. Move my Zoom thing so we can get back into present mode. Okay. So pro tip, answerthepublic.com. Okay. So step 2, we're going to map out that long-term content. So we're talking about 90 days. So we want to start with minimally 3 topics. I mean, I know that you guys can see my crazy basement, but this, you can see that I started mine for the year, right? So we're going to start with 3 topics, topic A, topic B, topic C. And now we're going to brainstorm those 4 useful pieces of content. Using Answer the Public will help you fill in what should be your next 4 pieces, okay? And then content bank. So what are we going to put in those 1 through 4? A how-to guide, 5 ways to improve something, 7 reasons not to do something, a Q&A. Maybe you want to interview either a previous client, a previous customer, interview an expert in the industry, or an educational series. I keep going back to that of laying that foundation to share why your product or service is super helpful, and letting them know. So that's some content to fill in there. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so I've went through things really fast. Is everybody keeping up with me? Thumbs up. I know I talk fast when I get excited. So stretching content. So now at this point in the presentation, we should know hopefully what your perfect platform mix is. Hopefully you have at least a start to a 90-day plan. You're kind of understanding, okay, what are we going to put out there? What are we going to start with? Now what? How do we get this back to social media, right? Okay. So we're going to use the sleep example. I don't get enough sleep, guys. I think this is probably why I stick with sleep, but that's okay. We're going to stick with sleep as our main topic category. You can work through this on your business, and as we're going through this with what your examples are. So hypothetically, 4 topics for sleep. These could be 9 signs you're not getting enough. 3 ways to get better sleep. Dr. Jen tells us why moms need more sleep, or how sleep impacts your diet. So those would be all really great topic categories for us to talk about sleep. So you could use this, and you could either talk about, maybe for the whole month of January, you're going to focus on sleep and you're going to promote that product that helps with sleep, right? Or maybe you want to pick one and you're going to focus on each one of these lines. Week 1 is topic 1, week 2 is topic 2. Or maybe you just want to start with one and you save the rest for April or June. I don't know. Okay, the opportunity or the options are unlimited there. Sorry, grab some water. Okay, so back to that long-term content. So I plugged in blog because that's the most common. So hypothetically speaking, let's say that this blog, the title is 3 ways to get better sleep. It's going to have 3 images and 3 golden nuggets. Okay, so I call a golden nugget like, have you read a blog and you have that key takeaway, right? Like that one thing that you learned from it. There's a bunch of words there, but you have the one heading or the one subtopic or whatever, and we're going to call it a golden nugget today. So 3 images and 3 golden nuggets. Bear with me, I am not a graphic designer, but I think that having a visual is super helpful. So the slide is not great, guys. But so we're going to start with those 3 images and the 3 golden nuggets, and we're going to start creating some posts. Okay, so you might take an image, pair it with a golden nugget, and you have some static posts. Okay, great. We have 3 posts to work with now. Maybe we want to get a little crazy and we're going to start mixing and matching. Okay, maybe you can pair any of these images with any of the golden nuggets. Okay, maybe you want to create some images through Canva, or have other images, more than this, but this is just a great place to start with. Now you have nine pieces of content. Okay, I told you that short videos are super important. So maybe you're going to go make a 10-second video on one of those golden nugget topics. Okay. So now we're at 12 pieces of content. You know, some platforms like Instagram or Facebook stories, I'm thinking of Instagram IGTV, but some platforms like the longer videos. So maybe you expand on one of those shorter videos. So now we're at what, 15, 16 pieces of content. This is a lot of content, right? So now how do we get that to social media? So Facebook, this might look like, okay, let's grab a couple static posts, let's grab a couple of the short videos, and you have a week's worth of content, really quick, really easy. Does that make sense? Okay, you know, Pinterest, let's grab some different pieces of content, push that there. And I hope you see where I'm going with this. Once we have that foundational blog done, it's super easy to get all of this content for whatever platform you want to show up on. Okay, so if I would have just been like, okay, you know, this is not scary, this is a little scary. So start with a foundation, start with something that you can work with, start with something that you can build on, and then move forward with, okay, let's create a few posts for that, let's create a few videos for that, and now let's promote it on social. Does that make sense? Is that helpful for anybody? I hope so. So now this still might seem a little scary because it's a lot, because it is. So let's talk about some scheduling tools. So stay sane, schedule your content. This also helps, you know, in the beginning we talked about wanting to pick a platform, wanting to stay consistent. So scheduling tools help you do that. Now, some marketers, this is kind of a back and forth thing on whether or not a scheduling tool is helpful or hurtful as far as the algorithm. I firmly believe if you provide good content, they're gonna find it. Okay, so some of the ones that are really great, Facebook Creator Studio, Facebook Business Suite. Some profiles are stuck in one or the other. It kind of just depends on where you're at. Planoly is a super good one for Instagram. It does like a full view of the grid. So if you're wanting like a pattern, have you seen Instagrams like that? Planoly is good for that. Hootsuite is kind of a starting point for all of the all-inclusive platforms. So if you're wanting to push out content to Facebook, Instagram, that kind of a thing, Hootsuite is a good starting point. Tailwind is really good for Pinterest and Instagram. Later, Buffer, and Smarter QE. I'm not sure how to say that one, but those are the three that I have the least experience in. Sprout Social is amazing. That's the one that I use, but it is very expensive as far as a monthly fee. So most of these options either have a free version or a very low, like $12.99 a month kind of entry fee. So scheduling tools are super, super helpful. So hopefully you're feeling a little bit better. But if you're still kind of looking a little bit like this, it might be time to talk about outsourcing your marketing. So outsourcing marketing is something that I think is more common now, especially because of COVID. You know that people can work from home. I personally freelance. So I have a client that I work with in Australia. I have a client that I work with in Richmond, Virginia. So it's something that you can do from anywhere and you can get the help that you need, okay? So when might be a good time to outsource? It's, you know, talking about this plan. So we built out this 90-day plan. And if I follow up with you in an email come end of January and you're not on track, that might be a sign to outsource. You know, your business isn't growing. So that might be time to have somebody come in, look at your analytics, tell you where you're missing the mark, okay? Maybe your business is just growing too fast and you need extra hands. Being task driven and not strategy driven. So if you're posting all of the stuff just to have content, that's not necessarily super great either. So outsourcing is great is if you need the help, but you're not quite ready to hire a full-time person, because outsourcing, you can definitely find cheaper options. You can outsource just Facebook. You could outsource just email marketing, you know, just getting the little bit of help that you need versus trying to hire a full-time person or, you know, worrying about benefits and all of that kind of a thing. And last but not least, if you would literally rather do anything else. So for me, and in my businesses, even when I had a boutique, taxes is like oh my gosh, my tax accountant friends, he does not get paid enough money, I promise. But if it's one of those things that you're always putting it off, you really just don't want to do it, you just don't like to do it, that would definitely be a sign to go in and ask for help. Okay, cool. So I hope I talked really fast. I have a bad habit of doing that. So I hope you found some value, and I'm gonna exit out of screen share so we can try to see if you guys have any questions. Chat. Who had something super, who found something valuable today? South Point Credit Union.
Miranda, before you totally put away that PowerPoint, could you go back to there was a slide called Content Bank, and it started with how to and 5 ways to improve. I was really intrigued with that idea of, creating a content bank.
Sure.
And was wondering if you could expand a little bit about that particular piece.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yep, can.
Great, fantastic.
It's about middle of your slide, sorry.
I know. You're fine. Let's do.
Yeah, there we go. That one.
Okay. So these would be, I had that we talked about that answer the public. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but this is making sure that you're adding the value. So giving a how-to guide on something, if you, do you have a business that we could use some examples, or like a holiday gift guide, or 5 ways to improve something. So I always am a believer in wanting to show why somebody should hire you, and then also kind of why, give them the tips on how to do it themselves, and then follow it up with be like, if you're a caterer, okay, this is a really great example. So holidays are coming, and tell them how to do it on their own, and then follow up with the next blog post and be like, hey, remember last year when you tried to cook all of the things and it was a nightmare? Showing them the opposite, showing them why you wouldn't want to do that. So is that helpful?
It is, thank you.
And this is a really big thing. If you haven't used Answer the Public before, there's like specific questions, and that helps with the content bank too.
Cool, thanks.
Miranda, do you have any suggestions from the creative standpoint in terms of photography, in terms of video, how to do things, somewhat professionally in-house? Tips, best practices, stuff along those lines?
Photography. Honestly, it's a lot of just doing it. I mean, iPhones take really good photos, taking your own photos, taking photos of products. So it's definitely not uncommon. And generally, I think customers would rather see you doing it versus like a professional photography shoot. This is very common with like headshots. Everybody thinks that you have to have a headshot, when really showing a picture with you on a Saturday is going to track better. As far as social media graphics, you can see Canva has a free option, and it also has a paid version. So this is really easy as far as doing graphics. They do some video graphics. So that's kind of a way to trick social media that you did a video, but you didn't necessarily do a video. Otherwise, other ways to do video: Facebook Live, Instagram, IGTVs, just getting out there and just doing it, being genuine. Camtasia is it's a paid subscription. It's like I want to say it's like $150 for the program, so then you just have it forever. But that's like an easy video editing software if you haven't done it before. So that's the one that I use, and let me tell you, I'm not a video designer. So, and that's an interesting one that too, because you can upload images, so you can kind of create a longer video versus and do like those transition like Ken Burns, where things kind of go in and out, and Camtasia is really great. Good questions. Let's see, can I see chat from here?
So Miranda, you mentioned using scheduling platform tools. What is your opinion on, I know there's a little bit of a debate about whether you have to create the same or create new content for each platform, meaning the verbiage and everything should be switched up, or are you one of those people that, is okay with tweaking it just a little bit, or should you for each platform have a different post to go along with your picture, or what's your opinion on that?
My opinion is work smarter, not harder. So I use Sprout Social, and so often when I see people using a scheduling tool, they'll just go through and they'll use the image and the copy and they'll click, click, click and post it all at one time. I don't recommend that. I recommend going in and like, creating this static post, right? You have an image and you have the copy, and maybe this is looking like using this one on Facebook on Monday, and then you use the same one on Instagram on Thursday, right? Because very often, I think we all do it. We go out on social and, you platform hop. So you check Facebook, you see what's there, and then you check Instagram and you see what's there. So by posting the same content on different days, when they do that platform hop, they're not seeing the exact same post. Is that helpful?
Yeah, that is.
Okay. What was the super expensive social? Yeah, Sprout Social is super expensive. It's really Sprout Social is really and we could look at it if you wanted to, but Sprout Social has really great analytics, and that's why it's expensive. So you can go in and look at what your competitors are doing. And that could be a whole thing in itself. I like Sprout Social because when you sign up for your free trial, you get a free 30 days. You get assigned a person, or at least I did. Maybe it's not the case for everybody. I got assigned a person that kind of did a webinar like this and walked me through the platform and showed me a lot of things. So that was super helpful. But Hootsuite's really good. That does a very similar thing. What other good ones are there? I've heard really, really good things about that Smarter Kiwi. It's just, and I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, but that Smarter one is one that's trending a lot in the industry right now. This is being recorded and being posted to YouTube later. Awesome. I can share the PowerPoint. I'll send that over to Corey once we get done here. How do I balance freelance career and a full-time job with family? I have a really awesome husband. So my husband is actually a stay-at-home dad. So I work and I work from home right now. So that's super helpful because then I can get some work done early in the morning and I can get work done late at night. But it's I don't know how well you can see my calendar back here, but I do this concept of making sure that I block off time, and I'm like, okay, Saturday is just for the kids. And my family knows, usually generally at our house, it's actually Sunday. My family knows, don't call me to come over on Sunday. Sundays are our days to be home. We meal prep Sundays and we spend Sunday nights on the couch. So it's really just making sure you block off that time for family, for friends, for whatever, and then building everything in around that. But it tends to be a lot of late nights, if I'm honest. What else do we got?
Miranda, I really liked your when to outsource, checklist, because I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with. You want to be the person doing your posting. You want to be the voice of your organization, especially if you're the entrepreneur, that started it up. You want to be talking to people about what it is you're doing, but sometimes maybe you're not the right person. What I struggle with that sometimes too is the if you're if you're having to feed content to somebody, to get them to do the marketing for you, aren't you doing a lot of the work that you would be doing, doing the marketing yourself? So could you talk a little bit about like how the packaging of that as your clients work with you? How do they package that stuff in a way that is time efficient for them? Because that's the whole point, is they're trying to save time and yet get you content that you can use.
I think it depends on how hands-off you want to be. So my one client from Richmond, he gives me full control to do whatever and anything that I need to do. Google Drive is super helpful as far as, I can't go out to Richmond and take pictures for him. So he uploads pictures to Google Drive, so then I can create content based on that. So some of it depends on what you want to do. So maybe you want to create the Facebook post, but maybe you don't want to blog write. maybe you want to blog, right? But you don't like Facebook, or you don't like Instagram, or you absolutely can't stand LinkedIn, you know, finding the fit of the things that you don't want to do. And it's really, you know, honestly, it takes some time. I mean, it takes time to understand the brand voice, and it takes time to build that relationship. So you're making sure that you're showing up. If you're looking to hire a freelancer, I highly recommend asking for either sample work, or specifically, even better than that, asking for them to do some sample posts for you. That's not uncommon for them to be like, hey, can you create me 4 graphics and copy, so then you know if they're on track or not with how you would want to be represented. So does that answer your question?
It does. You know, just thinking about that original content creation. You know, you've got a guy who uploads photos, and how do you handle that with video? If video isn't the thing that he likes to do you, as the marketing person, find a videographer who goes and takes video for him?
He is a very unique customer because he has his own photographer. So I work with his photographer directly to get the content. As far as getting video done, this might not be the best way to phrase it, but you can outsource a lot, but you can't outsource lovemaking, right? So in a way, videos like that, right? Like you can't outsource your personality. You can't outsource people knowing you and your why, because I'm not going to know that. And I'm not going to nearly be as passionate as you are. So that is the one area, even though my client hates it, I'm like, hey, I really need you once a week to go live. And that's just something you have to work out initially. But I mean, if you can get people to do that longer term content, specifically like thinking of a YouTube, so doing a client interview, or working with them to talk about, you know, how to process on video, it's easy to chop that up, you know, using Camtasia, and then using small bits of a bigger video, because you can maybe talk them into doing one. You just probably not going to talk them into doing a bunch.
Right. Awesome. Thanks. That's what I struggle with, is I don't like making videos with me in them. But yet I'm the one who needs to tell the story, right? So yeah, I struggle with that. So now you made me realize that, yeah, I should probably do that more.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You should. I highly recommend doing it. I know it's hard, and you're not going to be great the first time. And you're, you know, my other tip, when I owned a boutique, I used to do like live sales, or talking like this, and never watch the replay. Just go in and get it done. Don't record it a second time. This is another thing. Like, don't try to pre-record. Just go in and do it live. Just bite the bullet, get it done, and then don't look at it again, because at least you're getting the content out there. Because I think we're our own worst critique in that, where it's like, man, I could have said this better, I could have said that better, or I talked too fast here. It's like you're going to just keep recording. I mean, I will end up with 20 videos on my phone before I'll actually upload something. But remember to breathe in those lives. Yes. I talk so fast that that's usually my problem. But hopefully that's helpful. And Camtasia is another one. You know, we talked a little bit about being able to trick the platform that you did a video. You can also do like where you just record your voice and then you use the imagery and stuff to show in a video. So that's another way to keep your face off the camera, but you're still providing your voice and that kind of a thing. What other questions do we have? Do we want to look at anything? Did everybody know how to find what time their customers or their people they're following is on Facebook? Did you know how to find that in Insights? No, we talked about that. But
I think it'd be really cool. I think it'd be really cool to get somebody in the audience to give you their company as an idea to think about, and have you brainstorm content and how they might do their 90-day plan. I think that'd be neat, because then I could see an example live. And I know there's some cool businesses here. Come on, you guys, speak up.
All right. Let me see if I
To
can.
buy people just a little bit of time of who wants to go. You said you had your short videos and your long videos. How long should a short video be? How long is a long video? Because I know we always hear, 30 seconds or just under 2 minutes or things like that. What do you generally go by as your ranges for those two categories?
And today I would say a short video is 10 seconds, max 15. So you want to get things done and quick, and you have to have something initially to grab that attention. Whether you do the video that you create with like Camtasia and you have a graphic that tries to grab attention first, or it's just you, making sure that you offer that value right away to try to get them to stay, because we see a lot of fall off right around that 6 and 7 second spot in the video. And that's especially important for things that are in the feed. So thinking like Facebook feed or like Instagram, that kind of a thing. You can get away with longer videos, and basically anything over 10 seconds, I would consider a longer video. So doing like a Facebook Live or and the IGTV, those kinds of things will be helpful for longer videos. Or Instagram stories is another good one for kind of that in between, like 30-second content, because people are more likely to watch it there versus in a feed. That's where the misconception is, because especially on Facebook and especially on Instagram, you're just scrolling, right? It's very, very difficult to get somebody to stop scrolling. So making it super, super short, because even if they stop, they're not going to stay long. Do you use platforms like Upwork or Freelancer to find your clients? No, I do not. I use HireMyMom.com is a platform that I'm super passionate about. It is a platform to hire specifically moms that are professionals. So they're looking for anything from marketing to virtual assistants to call center, and they know that it's going to be remote. So that's one place that I do look for work. Otherwise, you can search Facebook jobs, looking for people that want social media, Facebook jobs, LinkedIn, those kinds of things. So it's more of applying for actual positions. They'll be titled as a part-time, and then I tend to pitch what contract and freelance work looks like versus trying to hire somebody and why that's beneficial.
So you kind of stated the importance of providing value, Miranda. And I own a jewelry company, and I think oftentimes it can come off as a little salesy with the Instagram post and such, because we're selling trendy jewelry, and I think we need to think about the providing more value aspect of things. Maybe it could be a blog on how to layer necklaces or something like that to kind of inform them, instead of try to sell them something, like if we have a sale going on. I feel like that's kind of like the first thing we go to right away. But if you have any suggestions, with jewelry and e-commerce and what platforms are good as well, excuse me. I know Pinterest has been really good for us, and I think there's a lot of opportunity on there because we do sell necklaces and just jewelry in general, and it's a lot of women as well. So if you have any suggestions with that, we've been playing around with it too. I think we could maybe pull in some long-term content that you were talking about with the blog post, and and kind of feed off of that. But yeah, thank you again for your presentation.
Okay, so jewelry. So if I was in a jewelry spot, I would definitely want to be adding value in, like you mentioned, the how to layer necklaces. That's great. Other ways, when should you pair a long necklace versus a short necklace? How do you pair earrings with a necklace? A holiday gift guide would be really great. Check Target, check what are the trending items, give them your top 10 holiday gift guide, and then make sure you're plugging in one or two of yours, and then a bunch of other things that aren't yours. What other ones? Did I say pairing it with an outfit? That would be another one. Or what to wear for jewelry for your first interview. That could be good. making sure that people are presentable. Maybe you don't want something super blingy or flashy, something like that. Let's see, what else could we do? Also, if you have a website, I would make sure, do you have a Facebook pixel install? Had somebody talk to you about that? Making sure that you have your yep, good. So making sure that you have Facebook pixels. So then if you do venture into Facebook ads, then you can catch that traffic. So that's good. Is that helpful?
Yeah, very helpful. Thank you, Miranda.
Yeah, of course. Okay. Don't have any questions in the chat. What else do you guys got? What other businesses? Does anybody else have a business you want to talk through?
Well, I'll give you mine. It's the Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship at the university. So my primary target audience is students who might have a side gig. They might have a business like Michelle does. They might just have an invention. They would be an engineer versus a business student. Some of our students are in things like sports medicine, and they've come up with a new process or a new procedure or something, and they're just starting to explore the idea of maybe I could turn this into a business. And what I'm trying to do is, one, make them aware that we exist, and then two, get them to either come to events or contact us for mentorship and links to resources. So there's like my little story of what we're trying to accomplish. Right now, we're primarily using Facebook. And not a lot of video. And I know we need to get better at that, but I'm not sure, like how to start. And I've got the Answer the Public up right now, and I did a search for entrepreneurship, and it's fascinating what kinds of things people have typed in. So that was actually like a great takeaway for me. And I'm looking at that going, okay, that's what people are asking about. I could do a post about that.
Yeah. I was turned on to
Entrepreneurship is a lonely journey came up. Yeah, I could read all about that. Great.
Yeah.
But a lot of you too. Good. Ted, you smiling? Yeah. It's 11 o'clock. Am I making payroll or not?
Right.
Both in there. And we had Global Entrepreneurship Week in November, so we just had a ton of events. And so we posted a lot about the events, trying to encourage people to come and make sure they have the Zoom links and all that.
So is mentorship something that is like a paid service through the
It's free.
That's free?
Yeah, we mentor students primarily, so it's one of the co-curricular activities for the students.
Looking at content here, especially on Facebook, a couple suggestions that I would want to make is Facebook doesn't read. So we would want to cut back this content back to like one line and then send them somewhere for more information. And then making sure that your content here, sorry, I don't want to pick apart your stuff here, but I want to try to be
No, that's great. That's what I asked for. Go for it.
This will apply to everybody. So like these posts, Facebook doesn't warrant to a lot of copy. So you want to keep that down to like one line. What's the most important thing? And the other thing about the algorithm is don't like retype. If you're doing graphics like this, don't have the one line be the same as what's in the graphic, right? You can kind of trick it, or you can have more copy by having copy on an image, but it shouldn't be the exact same. So that would be one tip. Instagram, on the other hand, just because we want to talk about all platforms, Instagram is where you can get away with the blog post style posting, where you have a lot more content and you have a lot more. I'm sure people have seen it where they do the bunch of line breaks with like emojis and topic 1 and topic 2, topic 3. You can get away with that on Instagram, not so much on Facebook, because people are scrolling more on Facebook than they would be here. So that would be one topic thing here.
That's great.
I like
Miranda,
that. Your graphic. Go ahead.
Quick question. What's your philosophy on hashtags
related
to posting?
Don't use them on any platform other than Instagram. So if you're using them on Facebook, stop today, because they are, unless you're trying to make a point, unless you're trying to be funny or something like that. But they're definitely not something that's used on Facebook. Hashtags for Instagram, try hard to like niche down. So, you know, entrepreneurs in Mankato or entrepreneurs in Minnesota or jewelry owners in Mankato or those kinds of things versus jewelry versus entrepreneur. You want to try to find those hashtags that have a large enough presence but aren't like millions and millions either. So Tailwind is one of the scheduling tools that I used to use that would give you that real-time data on how well that hashtag is, and I'll give you like a green or orange or red or whether or not you should be using it. So but use them on Instagram, but make sure that they're niche down and very specific to what you're wanting to do. Okay.
I mean, is that always possible though? Like, so, you know, jewelry in Mankato, I'm not sure if I would find that hashtag necessarily, correct?
That's probably not the best example. So more like Mankato business owners or Mankato small business owners, those kinds. So I didn't use a great example, so I apologize.
Yeah, for us, small business Mankato, student entrepreneurs, things like that, maybe.
Yeah.
Or, you know, if you're, you know, jewelry for, if you want to talk about if you're trying to serve a certain kind of customer, like if you're a higher price point and you want to do jewelry for business professionals, there's like a thing that was business fashion would be a hashtag, that kind of a thing. Fashion for moms, those kind, if you're trying to niche down to a certain area.
And kind of related to that question, when you, let's just say, compare Facebook and Instagram, do you feel that Instagram is more brand awareness, whereas Facebook may allow for more engagement? Or else otherwise, but.
It depends on how you're using it. So if you have a Facebook group, that's a really great place for engagement. And Instagram stories are really great for engagement because you can create like polls within the stories, and I'm sure a lot of people have seen like the graphics where you can click one or the other. Those are good engagement ways to use Instagram, where Facebook would be more of the commenting. It depends on what your target market is though. So if you're looking for adults that are 30, 40, 50, Facebook is probably better. If your target market is more like 18 to 25, Instagram, TikTok, those kind of platforms would be better. It just depends on who you're trying to target versus what kind of content you're trying to put out. So especially for the Center of the Innovation, if you're trying to help students, I would highly recommend going out to Instagram and posting this kind of content and engaging content there versus trying to focus on Facebook. So. And TikTok is really big, guys. Like, I know I've brought it up and it might seem silly if you're not on it yet. I mean, I'm not on it. So do as I say, not as I do. But that is a really good lead driver as far as almost any industry.
Hey, Miranda. First of all, thank you so much for this. This is very helpful. Actually, just starting Monday, I got into real estate. I just got approved starting off my business. So I'm brand new. I'm a new agent, just getting things rolling. A question I have is, as I'm trying to market myself, I also want to market the firm and the broker I'm with as well. But also, you know, I'm trying to bring business back to me, not necessarily just the firm as a whole. Do you have any suggestions on how to separate that or incorporate both of them to let people know that I'm here for them as well as the firm I'm working for as well?
I think some of it, I definitely recommend making sure you're checking in with your parent company, for lack of a better word. You know, I work for Taylor, so that's some of those things where I have strict guidelines on what I can and can't do out on Taylor. Even before I took this call, I'm like, can I do this? So it's just making sure that you're playing by their rules first, and then making sure that this kind of content, let me see if I can find my slide. Adding that 80-20%, making sure that some of the content is about your firm, because you're going to want to share that it is great about being a part of a big company, but you also want to make sure that you're sharing that you're great too. So kind of making sure you find that balance of, so let me back up one second. So I work for Taylor. I told you guys that, right? Because everybody recognizes the name Taylor. Okay. Technically, I work for Walters Publishing, which is a small company within Taylor, but you're not going to recognize that name, right? But when I go to market, when we're talking with people about yearbooks, I talk to them about Walters Publishing. But when I talk to a general public and we want to use that big flashy name because Taylor is so great and we have the great resources, that's kind of the approach I would take if I were you. I'd be like, hi, my name is Jacob. I'm awesome. This is why I'm awesome. But part of the reason why I'm awesome is I have the resources and I have the knowledge from the big organization.
I see. Okay.
Helpful.
Yeah, very helpful. Thank you.
Fun little coincidence. I created the very first website for Walters Publishing way back in the 90s.
We just did a refresh, so go out and check it. Go out and check it out. I literally just
I'm guessing it's a few generations from when I made the very first one way back. It was black and white. It had a few color pictures.
Yeah. Yep. We just that's part of one of my jobs is the website management. So yeah.
So now I'm just looking at all of our stuff with a whole new eye, looking through our Instagram posts and stuff. So thank you.
Yeah. I know that this is social media marketing, but really having that anchor content, and whether it's a blog or YouTube is still kind of social media. Some of the platforms serve as both, highly making sure that's terrible grammar. Making sure that you're showing up on Google and Facebook. Those are the top two that people use to validate a business or validate something. Even if, you were talking about students maybe wanting to start businesses in sports medicine or things like that. And it's like some of it, you might need the content to just be there too. And this is where that scheduling tool or, having that content, my fancy, not fancy graphic with all of the squares and circles. Let me see if I can find it. My screen is not liking the screen share today. All right, hold on. Having all of this content, another strategy is definitely making sure, okay, have the presence there, and it doesn't necessarily mean you have to be very active there. Facebook, I highly recommend it just because a lot of people do validate a business, making sure that there's stuff there, which doesn't sound like a great strategy, but in the long run, they might not engage with you there, but they might check it out. This is great for service-based business like fitness, personal trainers or plumbers or things like that. They might go out and check if it exists, and even if that's not your platform of choice, having something that's relevant too, because you don't want them to land on your Facebook page and your last post was April of 2017, because then they're going to be like, oh, are they actually still in business or are they not in business? So that's kind of part of that, having something, even if it's not your main strategy, but having something there. So if somebody finds it, they're like, okay, you know what, they were just on last week, and maybe we can reach out for some help.
So I have one more question. If we have a little bit of time, say you don't have a blog or something like that, how do you use your social media to drive traffic back to your website? What is an effective way of doing that?
Honestly, Facebook ads. So making sure that you have your Facebook pixel installed on the website, because then that can track the people that are on your website, and then you can go back and target them on Facebook. Using Facebook to get to the website. Going back to that like 80-20 thing, adding the value and doing the videos and stuff will help grow your audience. and then share a link. Like not every single post should have a link to the website either, because Facebook isn't going to like that. Facebook wants you to stay within the platform. They want you to be on there and engaging and things like that. They don't want you to be like, go find me here, go find me here. You still need to do that, but just not every day, not every single post. But ads is a good way to start there. And ads, and I do want to touch on ads just for 1 second. Don't think that you need like $1 million budget to run ads. I highly recommend starting with $150 and doing an ad spend for $5 to $3 a day. That seems to be the sweet spot, especially for someplace that you're starting. Just as like a quick tip. Not right now. I do want to add, don't go do them today, because ad space is insane because of the holidays. So maybe add that to part of your Q1 strategy. If you haven't run them before, put that on a Q1 plan, because right now you are not going to want to battle for space, ad space. I would not recommend that.
We've actually had really, really good response with spending $20 boosting a post on an event. We'll boost a post on an event, suddenly get a bunch of traffic, and then I'll actually see registrations coming in on Eventbrite. So that's actually worked really well to target those. And it's not a lot of money.
Boosting posts are really good if you have the organic traffic. So if you already have people that are responding to your event and they're liking, because then it's going to go, so say you're attending my event, it's going to go try to find people around you to try to get them to the event. Where ads are very highly targeted. So say, I live in St. James. So say I want to target more clients in Richmond, I can highly target. There's more advanced features with an ad versus just a boosted post. So I can go in and pick a better demographic and a more specific audience model type. So, but boosted posts are only good if you have the organic traffic on there already. So whether it's an event or a post, if people are already liking and engaging it, then it's time to boost. But if you're not, if it's an event or a post or something that hasn't gotten a single like, don't spend money there.